Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk about traveling with breast milk on an airplane. There is a lot of people with questions on what can and cannot be done when it comes to traveling with breast milk on an airplane, such as can you travel with dry ice? Can you travel with fresh breast milk? Will they throw away my breast milk if it exceeds 2 ounces? So I'm going to go ahead and address those questions today and help you get them all answered so that you can travel with breast milk and feel comfortable doing so. So let's get started talking about fresh breast milk and bringing that on the plane. Yes, you can take fresh breast milk on the plane. You can pump it on the plane. You can take it through security checkpoints, and it does not have to meet the 2-ounce limitation that normally applies to liquids. The reason for this is it's considered a medical necessity. So when you're traveling and you go through the security checkpoints, you do want to tell them that you have breast milk with you, and they will have you come aside and they will check that breast milk. They have a testing procedure that they do. They usually take these little wipes and they wipe the side of the bottle or put a little breast milk on it, and they run it through a scanner that confirms that it's not a substance that is dangerous to anybody, and then they approve it and they let you go about your way. So if you have 8 ounces, 10 ounces, 20 ounces of fresh breast milk on you, you can feel safe about bringing that through security checkpoint. You will be absolutely fine. Let's talk about frozen breast milk. Now, when it comes to frozen breast milk, most people feel like they can travel with that because it is frozen. But how do we keep it frozen? How do we keep it from thawing? How do we keep it safe? What do we use? Do we use ice packs or do we use dry ice? Can we use dry ice? As far as whether you choose to use ice packs or dry ice, it really is up to you on what you want to do and how long your flight is going to be. You can use dry ice. The limitation, I believe, is like 2 pounds. You can't go over 2 pounds. You want to check with the TSA website to confirm that because regulations can change at any time. When I had traveled on a plane, the regulation said that it was 2 pounds. Now, I did encounter a situation where a representative told me that I could not travel or go through the checkpoint with the dry ice. And at the time I was prepared, and I actually had the screenshot of the TSA regulation on my phone. I had the website saved on my phone. So right then and there I was able to show that representative that I could travel with the dry ice, and it was right here. So they did review that, and he spoke with the supervisor, which confirmed it. So then they just took the dry ice out of my bag, weighed it on the suitcase scale, confirmed that it did meet the regulation limitations, and then they just put it back into my cooler and let me go about my way. The TSA security checkpoint, they didn't even say anything about the dry ice. They had no problems with it at all. So yes, you can travel with dry ice. Just again, check the regulations. If it helps, make sure you also have that saved on your phone in case you encounter somebody who may not be aware of the regulations. And so let's go ahead and talk about how I do travel on the planes. Now I have my cooler here. In my case at the time, I had a cooler that I just kept in my suitcase that I had in my carry-on because I didn't feel comfortable with sending my frozen breast milk through the check-in and everything. So I had a cooler that had my frozen breast milk in it, and it was just a small one, kind of like half this size, and it was the same soft type cooler. It was like half this size. I had my frozen breast milk in it. I had my 2 pounds of dry ice in it, and I just kind of had it zipped up, and then I kind of wrapped it with some like brown bag kind of stuff, just a little bit, and then I just put it in my suitcase. When I went through the TSA security checkpoint, I made sure to tell them that I had that in there, and they just took it out, and they were very careful with it. They opened the bag up, they wiped it, checked it, put it back in, it's good to go. So that's one way you can travel with your frozen breast milk. Another way that you can travel with your frozen breast milk is with you in your cooler on you that you could use to serve as your pump bag too. So in my case, when I traveled at that time before, and I did a little bit of traveling, so I kind of got off a lot of flights and went through checkpoints a few times, and I traveled again a few months later, did the same thing again. So I kind of have a little bit of experience on all the things that I was able to do. And at that time, like I said, I had my frozen breast milk in the cooler inside my carry-on bag, and then I had my pump bag with me. Now, a pump bag is considered a medical device. So where the airports will tell you you're limited to 1 carry-on item, that is the case. So you can have your carry-on item like your suitcase, you can have your purse, and then you can also have your pump bag with you. And all of those things are fine. Now you may encounter where you're going, your stewardess may say, oh, you can't bring an extra item with you, and all you have to say is, this is my pump bag, and they're like, okay, and they'll just let you go on your way. So you could also do this. This is something I kind of do more often now with all of my getting around in my car, things like that. I have this cooler, and it's really, really handy because I have pockets in it and things like that too. And up on top, I could put my ice pack. I could also put dry ice up here if I wanted to. And inside, I have my pump. I have a washcloth where I separate my frozen breast milk. So when you're traveling on a plane, you can put, if you want, an ice pack on the bottom, your frozen breast milk on top of it, your washcloth on top of that, and your pump on top of this. And over off to the side is where you can put your bottles, like your empty bottles and your flanges inside of here. And I'm knocking everything over. So, try to get a little more organized here. You can have that all arranged here, and it'll stay cold with the frozen breast milk and the ice pack. And let's say you don't have any frozen breast milk in here. You can actually, like I said, have an ice pack down there, an ice pack on top. So you're able to keep whatever milk that you pump nice and cold during your travel time until you can get it into a bag and have it frozen. Any frozen breast milk in here just kind of helps with the coldness, and you can keep it frozen in here during your travels. You can bring it with you. You don't have a lot of frozen breast milk to take with you. And you always have it with you on your side. You can feel comfortable with that. Just go ahead and put that back in here. And then on the front pocket, I have my pump bra, my charger. You have your card. You can have your card charger in here, your battery pack in here, and even your phone charger in here. When it came to traveling on a plane, I was able to pump in the terminal. There are, in some airports, nursing stations where you just got, it's kind of like a bathroom without like the toilet in it. So you just have a counter and a place to sit, and you just shut the door, and you can have some privacy if you want some discretion when pumping. In some terminals you do not have the nursing station, so what I ended up doing is just finding a discreet place somewhere. I mean, there was nearly no 100% private place, but I was able to find some places that I felt were a little bit more discreet, and some areas had outlets that I could just go ahead and plug my pump in. Other areas I had to depend on my battery pack so that I could pump. I highly recommend bringing an extra pair or an extra set of batteries with you. I was in an instance where my batteries ran out of charge and did not have my extra set of batteries like I thought I did, and I didn't have anywhere. I couldn't find a discreet place to plug in my pump, and I checked to see how much the batteries at the airport were, and it was like $8 for 2 AA batteries, in which I needed 8 AA batteries, so I decided that I just wasn't going to pump right then and there. So definitely keep an extra pair or extra set of batteries with you. You can pump on a plane too. I know some people are like, that makes them uncomfortable, and it made me quite uncomfortable at the idea of pumping on a plane. What other passengers are going to think? Am I going to make the other passengers uncomfortable? Am I going to be uncomfortable? I did it anyways. I had a cover with me, and I found that people really just didn't seem to care. They didn't seem to mind. I even at one point was sitting next to a gentleman who was like, nobody was sitting in the seat between us. I had the window seat, and he had the aisle seat, and he just was sleeping. Anyways, he just like, oh, I'm just going to take a nap. He just took a nap. I covered up, I pumped, and I was able to just, pump on the plane without really anybody minding. And a few women actually was like, good job there, going ahead and pump, just do it. I totally understand. I have a baby at home, or, my kids are older now, but I had to nurse when I was younger, so I completely support what you're doing. So I found that it was very supported, and I didn't have any issues at all. So that was really nice. And whatever milk that I pumped, I was able to take with me through the terminals. I was able to take with me through any checkpoints. Didn't matter how much breast milk I had on me. So in my experience, traveling, as long as you're prepared, as long as you're knowledgeable, you know what you're doing, and you're doing it correctly, and like I said, keep that policy with you in the event you come across somebody who may not be aware of the policies, even though that they actually work at the airport. And this way you always, you're always going to be able to continue to move forward without any hiccups along the way. Again, you just don't want to encounter where you have too much dry ice. Make sure you have just enough. And in the event you accidentally have too much dry ice, then throw away whatever is extra amount, and then just take with you, have it checked, checked by the security check of only the amount that you're allowed to have. My last thing here is that I like to have these breast pump wipes. They're really good to have. So if you're pumping, when you're done pumping and you put your bottle in your cooler and everything is all set up, you can actually take these and wipe your flanges down. If after you're done pumping, if you use a double pump and you have your 2 bottles and you have just enough milk in each one of them that you can pour milk from one bottle into the other and just close it, and you have now this empty bottle, these wipes actually come in handy, just wiping that bottle out to kind of clean it up and then putting it into your pump bag until you're able to go ahead and wash it. That way you don't have all that milk kind of spilling or just kind of going sour in there during the travels or anything like that. So I really like these wipes, and you also can wipe them off before you use your flanges or bottles just to make sure that they really are clean. Just make sure you follow the instructions, because sometimes they'll tell you that you need to wait a certain amount of time, maybe 5, 10, or 15 minutes before you can actually use the flanges once you wipe the bottle, or once you wipe the flanges. So make sure that you check the directions before you use them. I hope I've answered all of your questions in regards to traveling with breast milk on a plane. If you have any questions, make sure to go ahead and send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to look into that and answer them for you. And thank you for watching.